Everyone, welcome back to another episode. Andrew Tsundoku here, going to be talking to you today about Saturn Apartments, giving my review, the lowdown on Saturn Apartments. Now, Saturn Apartments is a manga by Viz Signature. They are $13 a piece in the US. There are 7 total. They're all right here, and I got them recently during my Viz Media manga haul a couple videos back. So I've actually discovered Saturn Apartments about 2 years ago, and I just couldn't find a good deal on them. Finally was able to grab these. I am super grateful that I did because I honestly rather enjoyed it, and I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about it. This kid, that's the cover, but that kid right there, his name is Mitsu, and Mitsu is a window washer. And you would think that a story about a kid who washes windows would not be so entertaining, but that is hardly the case. It takes place in the future, Earth, hundreds and hundreds of years from now. The entire Earth is now a wildlife reserve, and people live around a ring that orbits the Earth. They live in this ring. And inside the ring, it is divided into 3 levels. And the working class people are on the lower level, and then the middle level is where like hospitals and schools and agricultural stuff is. And then the top level is for like the super elites. And so all of these rings, in order to get sunlight, have windows. Now, of course, the windows on the top level, the whole sky is full of windows. There's windows everywhere. The middle level, there's windows, but it's harder because it's like a tube that surrounds the planet, right? And so as you go down further, the windows on the middle level are flat, whereas the windows on the lower level, if there are any, are sloping back in. And so Mitsu and his what do they call it? Guild. Mitsu and his guild of window washers have to wash the windows. The easiest ones to wash are, of course, at the top level where the elites are. And the elites have money to pay for their services, so they're up there quite frequently. Down where the middle class is, the middle windows, a little harder to get to, a little sketchier, and then the windows on the lower side are super sketchy, so they're hardly ever clean. This kind of introduces the class system that the story has, whereas people on the top levels look down to people who live on the lower levels. And that's essentially the story without giving anything away. It's very slice of life-y. It's very mundane. In fact, the beginning, I would say 3 volumes are very boring. They don't really have a lot to contribute that you know of, because everything ties together at the end. But the first 3 volumes seem very bland. They seem like you're working with Mitsu washing windows. And I know that's the point, but they were just very repetitive. You take away the first 3 volumes, though, and you're left with the last 4. The middle 2, things start to pick up, and you're seeing how everything's kind of coming together. And then the 6th and 7th book, everything concludes, and it concludes very well, to the point where I'm positive that the mangaka knew what she was doing from the very beginning, because everything is very tied together and unified, and the first 3 books were necessary even though they were mundane. It's to illustrate a point. There's a lot of hidden subliminal stuff that goes into this book, this series, and one of them, the first one being work. There's work to be done. The windows need to be washed, and other people have work, and they emphasize that, or she emphasizes this, the author, of course, Hisai Iwaoka. Of course, she couldn't have an easy name to pronounce. Hisai Iwaoka emphasizes the fact that work needs to be done, and she tries to provide examples of what a good job is. And Mitsu all the time is trying to improve. He's wiping the windows, and his superiors will come up behind him and be like, "You've got to redo it. It's not good enough." okay, and he's got to redo it. And you get to see that, and at first I thought it was just bad story, like the person trying to stretch the book for as long as possible, but it was necessary so you could feel a sense of accomplishment when Gene finally tells Mitsu that he did a good job, stuff like that. So work, definitely, and if you are of the working class people, you will absolutely appreciate the book. It definitely is relatable. And then the second thing that it emphasizes is loneliness. There's so much empty space in these panels. There's so much loneliness emphasized throughout the book, whether or not they tell you, whether or not she tells you, or whether or not you can see it yourself while reading it. There's so much emphasis on loneliness and what it is to be lonely, and then the characters one by one realizing that they aren't actually as lonely as they thought. Another thing that the book talks a lot about or infers a lot about is the idea of love, or the idea of living in the moment, to do things when you first have that inkling to do them, whether it is to say something to someone, or to work a job that you want to work, or anything like that. Just be yourself and live in the moment, because you'll never know when you're going to get that opportunity again. And last and finally, what I realized at the end of the book was that it has so much of an emphasis on what it is to be home, what it is to belong, to overcome that loneliness. And at the end, it's very powerful, and all throughout, the characters will say something like, I feel at home here, or this is my home, or anything like that. And home is not so much a place as it is a feeling, that feeling of being home. And the book really does a good job of illustrating those points. I give Saturn Apartments an 8.5 out of 10, which is actually a fairly decent score. The art is very good, very masterfully done, but very simplistic. The characters are very simplistic, and the art style is simplistic, but there's so much detail into the environment and into the backgrounds and things like that. It's a beautiful story, and if you can get past the first 3 volumes of just work and just mundane efforts and window washing, I guarantee that you will appreciate this a lot. I would not recommend it for everyone. With that being said, I definitely would think that an older audience would appreciate this more than a younger audience. There's nothing bad in it per se. No bad language, no sexual stuff, no violence, hardly any violence. I just don't think that it would gravitate toward younger readers, but I know the people watching this are around my age, and I definitely believe that you folks would appreciate it. It's definitely worth looking at, and if you, like I said before, if you can finish volume 4 before you decide whether or not it's right for you. And I know that sucks, investing 4 volumes into it before you can make a good judgment on it, but I thought it was not going to be as good as it turned out to be, and I was pleasantly surprised with the end results, and I think you guys will be too. 8.5 out of 10, that's my final judgment, and as always, let me know what you guys think. If you've heard of it, if you've read the series, let me know how my opinions stack up next to yours. Put them in the comments below. If you have any ideas for anything else that you would like me to review coming up next, let me know about that. I'm actually going to start reading Food Wars later today. I'm pretty excited about Food Wars. I've heard a lot of good things, and after Food Wars, it's kind of up in the air. Maybe Red River, maybe Pandora Hearts. Let me know what you guys think, and as always, I will catch you later. Peace. Oh.